Morning friends, myself CA Mohit Singhal, and today I am going to discuss this Aadhar authentication under GST which become effective from 1st April 2020 for certain category of persons making application for new registration under GST. As we all know that through Finance Act 2019, government has made certain amendment in CGST Act, out of which one pertains to the registration in section 25, through which government has added four subclause which deals with this Aadhar authentication. One by one we are going to discuss in detail these four subsection with relevant notifications which become applicable from 1st April 2020 by virtue of first subclause 6A in section 25, which become mandatory for registered persons to undergo this Aadhar authentication process or have to furnish the proof of the possession of the Aadhar number in a prescribed manner as notified by the government. In certain case, if those registered person does not have any Aadhar number, then government is going to prescribe certain alternative or viable means for the purpose of identification for these registered person. In case if those registered persons fails to undergo Aadhar authentication or fails to furnish alternative or viable means of identification or fails to furnish proof of the possession of Aadhar number, then their registration is deemed to be invalid, and all the provision of this act is applied to these category of registered person as if they doesn't possess any type of registration till now. The good thing is that it is not yet prescribed by the government by virtue of any notification. While moving on, second subclause 6B, which make mandatory for every individual in order to be eligible for grant of the registration have to undergo this Aadhar authentication process or have to submit the proof of the possession of the Aadhar number. Also, in case if they doesn't have any type of Aadhar number, government has prescribed certain viable means or alternative means by virtue of rule 9, which we are going to discuss in latter part of this video. By virtue of notification number 18/2020, government notify every individual to undergo this Aadhar authentication process under GST for every type of individual taking new registration from 1st April 2020. Focus is here on individual, as we all know that rule 8 deals with certain category of persons making application for newly registration other than non-resident taxable person, a person making application for under section 51, under section 52, person providing OIADR services. Other than these category of persons, everyone have to undergo this Aadhar authentication process. Clause 6B specifically talks about individual. In case clause 6C, which talks about other than individual category of persons, have to undergo this Aadhar authentication, and also in case they doesn't possess this Aadhar number, they also have to follow the viable or alternate means of identification as prescribed in rule 9. By virtue of notification 19/2020, which become effective from 1st April, government notify three category of persons who have to undergo this Aadhar authentication. In case of the class of the person other than individual, that is all the authorized signatory of all type of person, managing and authorized partner of the partnership firm, karta of and HUF have to follow this authentication process. By virtue of notification 17/2020, government prescribed that in certain cases there is no need of Aadhar authentication under GST for the purpose of registration. First one would be the person who is not a citizen of India, and second one would be for a class of the person other than the persons which we have discussed in the previous slides. Now we are going to discuss this alternative or viable means as prescribed in rule 9. Government by virtue of notification 16/2020 introduced one proviso in rule 9 which are as follows. The proviso says that if a person fails to undergo this Aadhar authentication, then the registration shall be granted to him only after the physical verification of the principal place of the business by the proper officer in the presence of said person, and the whole process should be concluded within 60 days from the date of the application by proper officer. Physical verification is to be done as per the manner prescribed in rule 25, and the provisions of sub rule 5 of rule 9 does not applicable in that case, which are going to prescribe the final timeline within which the proper officer have to take action in case of submission of the application for registration under GST. Now we are going to discuss this rule 25, which talks about proper officer must have to satisfy himself that physical verification of the place of the business is required, in which cases these are prescribed in rule 25, which talks about if the officer seek that if a person is fails to do Aadhar authentication under GST before making application under GST or any other after grant of the registration, if PO needs to do physical verification is required, then he have to do verify the place of the business in the presence of the registered person under GST and submit his report, other documents and in photograph on the common portal within 15 working day in form GST REG 30 from following the date of such verification. So the thing is that if a person making application under GST doesn't make Aadhar authentication, which leads to physical verification by the proper officer of his premises and also leads to delay in getting GST number. Thank you friends. Thanks a lot for watching this video.